but the learning tends to be verbal and linear. In other words, we take words, we make sentences, we have sentences that follow each other. Whereas if you look at, let's say, Native American culture as an example, Native Americans have had trouble fitting into regular schools because they are very observant of the outside and they've learned to make assumptions and knowledge by looking at the earth and looking, they learn that way. And you can take a regular family in a Western society and you can find out, yes, there's visual spatial learners and there are verbal linear learners. Okay.
Okay.
Your verbal linear learners are the people who fit into schools very well because that's their natural way of learning. And the visual spatial learners are the kids who have a hard time learning that way. There's not something necessarily wrong with them. It's that they don't necessarily go piece by piece and build it in a logical fashion.
It seems like there's no system set up for those types of learners. So
There certainly is not the regularity of a system set up that way.
Gotcha.
I think you can find it places where they do it. There's certainly, I read about some schools in Minnesota who have large Native American populations, and they do more of that, almost like a a very spatial, visual kind of learning, and looking at they do well in science. Um, just like a lot of Asians do well in math and have trouble with our Western language learning, you know.
Yeah. Um, yeah. ADHD medication. Do you think that so I have y- you prescribed me pretty precisely. Like I had things hooked up to my brain, and they're like, "You have ADHD." I'm like, "All right, I could have listened to Maureen 5 years ago." Um, so
When you talk about normalizing things, yeah, I lived in the ADHD world, and perhaps I'm even ADHD myself in many ways, but they didn't test people back when I was, that
right.
school age.
So you had to
But
intuitively pick it up, or
yeah, I mean, it just is like, yeah, of course you're ADHD.
yeah,
You know, like,
right, right,
like, like, you, what else would you be? You
right,
know?
right,
And Michael is my one. All three boys had ADHD, as did my father, as did his father. I mean, it's like
right.
that was before they even diagnosed. But I know with Michael, he was perhaps the most instrumental for me in a after the fact learning method. Okay, so I knew a lot about ADHD. I knew a lot about how to take care of ADHD kids, how to help them find themselves and stuff like that. But he introduced me to the visual spatial, the that world. And one day I said to him, "Well, when I talk to you and I'm trying to tell you something, it doesn't seem like you're listening. What's going on?" And he was in college at this point. And he said, "It's almost like there's these little puff things coming out of your mouth, like in a cartoon or in a comic book. And I have to get enough of them to put them together
Pretty much.
and then read through them so that I know what you said."
These are the outcasts, though. These are the outcasts, the misunderstood ones, the mentally challenged ones, if you will. It's a challenge mentally, because we think in those terms. We think in as the natives think, if the wind blows that way, okay, that's the direction I should go today. So yeah, complicated topic for a complicated woman. But I'll leave that at that.